W of t, the expression which is written over here, Si of t plus W of t. So this x of t, okay, it is the variable of the received random process x of t, capital X of t. It is a random process, okay, and this W of t is the sample function of the white Gaussian noise process, and it is assumed to be of zero mean and power spectral density is n0 by 2. So all these information we have discussed in the earlier class. Okay. So now what we are going to do, we are going to illustrate the effect of noise that is affected on the location of the received signal. So this is the message point here. This is the message point here. So what happened? This message point is the vector Si. That is what is reflected over here. That is what is reflected over here. Now, when noise is getting added, what happens? This signal point is getting shifted to this region. It is getting shifted to this region, and that received signal point we called as your observation vector. So what it is, students? That received signal point we called as your observation vector over there. So here, the representation of the received signal x of t, what happens is it is added with the presence of additive noise W of t. So now this received signal is x of t. What will happen? It is when it is applied to the bank of correlators. Now the correlator vectors outputs will define a new vector. So that new vector is what? That is called as x. So that is this x. That is this x, which we called as your observation vector or the received vector. So now this vector x differs from the signal vector Si. It differs from the signal vector Si. So that expression is given as this one, x is equal to Si plus W. Okay, so that is represented by x is equal to Si plus W. So what are these x and W? This x and W is what? This is nothing but these are sample values of random vectors. So I'll write here, it are sample values of random vectors. It is sample values of random vectors. Okay, of which one? Capital X and W. Okay, it is a random process. So this noise vector W, so it is completely characterized by this noise W of t. Okay. So now what we do is, now we need to go to the detection problem. Okay, now is what the real difficulty is going to start. We are going to go for the detection problem. So given the observation vector x, what we need to do, we need to perform mapping. We need to perform mapping now. Okay, we need to perform the mapping. What it is? Mapping from x to an estimate m cap. What is m? M is the actual transmitted symbol, okay, the signal over there. So what m cap is what? It is an estimate. We don't know whether we have received the actual signal or not. Why it is so? Because the received signal point is being added with the noise. So that is why we write it as m cap. That is why we write it as m cap over here. So now we need to minimize the average probability of symbol error. So what is our aim? Our aim is to minimize. We need to minimize the probability of error. That we write it as PE. Minimize the probability of error. So this maximum likelihood detector provides a problem. So now we are going to go to give a solution. Okay, I give a solution over here. What is the solution? We make use of a maximum likelihood detector. So that I called as here ML detector, maximum likelihood detector. We make use of the maximum likelihood detector. Okay. So that is what you mean by this or this graphical representation, the significance. That's what you mean by the significance over here. So again, I repeat, we perform a mapping to an estimate M cap. M cap is an estimate. So our aim is to minimize the probability of error. So for the solution for this minimizing the probability of error, we make use of a maximum likelihood detector. So in the ML detector, we can see that we employ a rule called as, we make use of the principle of Bayes rule. Okay, we make a rule called as, which is studied in earlier mathematics, Bayes. We make use of Bayes rule. So this is very important. So using this Bayes rule only, and then take the logarithm, we will see whether it has been present inside the region of the n Euclidean space. Z is going to be some space, whether this x is present inside the space. If it is present inside the space, then it is okay. Then it is deviated means there is some error located because of the noise process. So that gives you the probability of error. Is that clear, students, what I am telling?
Which space I didn't understand.
Pardon?
So which space are we talking about?
No, this we are writing this n Euclidean space, right? See, for example, this all these message points is in the n dimensional Euclidean space. Okay, so that we called as your signal constellation. So now that space is nothing but that z, what we have over here. I denote some value z. Okay, so that denotes some n dimensional. That denotes some n dimensional so it is the n dimensional Euclidean space. Okay, so where all possibly these observed vectors are present. So if it is present in the assigned space, okay, then you don't have an error. If it is deviated from one quadrant to the next quadrant, what happens? We have normally 4 quadrants in a space. When a partition like this one we call it one region. This is some this full region which we have. This full region which we have. This is some phi 2. This is some phi 1. Okay. So this is going to be some z1. This is going to be some z2. This is going to be some z3, and this is going to be some z4. Okay. If it is assigned, these vectors may be assigned in one particular space. So whether the received signal is going to be binary 1 or it is going to be binary 0, accordingly it will be spaced over here. Accordingly it will be spaced over here. If it is assigned in the respective quadrants, then it is okay. But because of the shift of when noise is getting added, this will be shifted. That means it will be going to some observation vector x, provided it is located within that space, then we call it as how you calculate the probability of error. Okay, so this full Z, this full space, full Z we call it as a Euclidean space. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, this is where we put your message points. Here a message point is here, another message point is over here, this is another one, this is another one. Accordingly, you mark a signal constellation where all these signals are present. That you call it as a Euclidean space. That Euclidean space is what we are going to call it as Z. Now,
okay, sir.
Yeah, now we'll go, what is that ML detector? What I was telling over here, this particular line. What was that ML detector? Okay, so now what we do, we see that when the observation vector has a value x, we make the decision m cap equal to mi. Okay, so what we do over there, we made a decision m cap equal to mi. Okay, So the average probability of error in this decision, we denote like this. What is the decision? This is what we calculate the average probability of error. So P of mi comma x, P of mi not sent. See, if you remember when you studied earlier probability theory, you would have studied like this. If I have x and q, okay, total probability anyway cannot exceed 1. So if x is going to be some success, if this is going to be some success, and this we called as some failure. This we called as some failure. So I can write 1 minus q, also I can write it. So 1 minus the failure gives you that success. So similarly, what we do over here, we are denoting, that is this PE of mi comma x, this one. PE of mi comma x, okay. It is the average probability of error in this decision, where we denote like this. So then I write it as 1, this is PA mi not sent. This is 1 minus PMI sent. That's what I was telling with this example. Then you should understand. So now to minimize the probability of error. Now what is our aim? Why we are going to go for this one? Because noise has been added. It is a detection of signals in known noise. Noise is getting added. So our aim is to minimize the probability of error. So I set m cap equal to mi. If this is the condition, that means if mi sent slash x is greater than equal to mi sent slash x. That means this should be in a higher value. Only then this will become a minimum value. Which one? 1 minus p mi sent will become minimum, so that my probability of error has become minimum. So that is what you mean by this expression, p of mi sent slash x greater than p of mk sent slash x for all k equal to I. So k value, why we take till m? Because there are m set of signals. So this decision rule is called as your maximum a posteriori probability. Okay. So this decision rule is referred to as maximum a posteriori probability. So now this equation, okay. What is this equation? This equation which here represented. This equation which here represented, let me write it as 1, equation 1. Okay. So this equation 1 can be expressed more in terms of a priori probabilities. Of what? Priori probabilities of the transmitted signals and in terms of the likelihood functions. Again I repeat, this equation 1 can be expressed in terms of priori probabilities of the transmitted signals and again in terms of the likelihood functions. So now what we are going to do, we are going to apply what I told, which rule we will be doing, applying which rule I was telling earlier?
Bayes rule.
Bayes rule. So I am going to apply Bayes rule to this equation. Okay. So in this rule, what we do is, for a moment we are going to ignore, for there may be some ties in the decision making process. So I am assuming that there are no ties. That means some equal conditions would have been there, that I am ignoring. So then what we do, again we are going to set n cap equal to mi. That means that estimate I am going to make equal to the actual symbol, this one which is written over here, m cap equal to mi. Okay. So if I make it, then what happens? I can write my Bayes rule formula as, okay, p of x slash mk divided by x of x is maximum for k equal to I. See, always when you write the formula, please write the condition. Okay. So this signifies what should have been the probability of error over there. So here this pk is called as a priori probability of occurrence of symbol mk, and this fx of x slash mk is your likelihood function. What is that fx of x slash mk? What is this function? What it is? What it is? What is the value of that one? Fx of x slash mk, what it is, this one?
Probability of x when mk was.
No, what is that expression? What is that expression? Earlier we have done it. You remember? I'll take to the previous slide. Just see over here. This is the one which I was telling. Till the earlier class we completed this slide. This is fx slash mi. Now I am writing some mk. So it is pi to the power of minus n by 2. This expression again I am going to take. You remember this one, everyone, students, which you did?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this expression I am going to carry forward. Okay. Now that expression we need to use over here. That is what this likelihood function. Okay. This is the earlier derived result. Earlier derived result. This is we need to carry forward. This we need to carry forward for our analysis. This we need to carry forward for. So now what I do to this function, that is fx of x slash mk, I need to take the log function. That means I need to take the natural logarithm of fx of x slash mk. Okay. So if this becomes, it has to become maximum. Then we can tell that we have achieved the minimum probability of error. So that is what our expression. So to the expression you take a logarithm. Okay. So there what we do, you set, what we need to set, logarithm of fx of x slash mk is maximum for k equal to I. Okay. So this decision is referred to as maximum likelihood. Okay. So maximum likelihood detector computes the metric for each transmitted message. What does it do? It computes the metric for each transmitted message. Again I write, it computes the metric. It computes the metric for each transmitted message. So that is the purpose of this function. Okay. And what does it do? It compares and then decides whether it is a favor of maximum or not. It is going to compare and then it decides in favor of the maximum. So that is what I was telling. You make a decision rule. So now we need to make a graphical interpretation of the maximum likelihood decision rule. So where I denote, what is the variable I denote? I denote the variable as Z. As earlier I told, I denote the variable as Z. So this denotes the n-dimensional Euclidean space, possibly all observed vectors. So it contains possibly all observed vectors x. That's what the Z contains. So now we refer to this space. We refer to this space as observation space. We refer to as observation space. Okay. So the total observation space Z is partitioned. So this Z is partitioned. What is that partition? Okay, like this. We partition it. Okay. So we partition it into m decision regions. View partition. Okay. So partition into m decision regions. Partition into m decision regions. Okay. So that decision regions is what? That decision regions, what are those decision regions? You write it as, Z1, Z2, like that. Okay. So you write Z1, Z2 like that. So that you call as your decision regions. Okay. So now we reinstate. What we are going to do? We are going to reinstate the rule. Vector x lies inside the region Zi. What it is? If logarithm of fx of x slash mk is maximum for k equal to I. So that is the explanation which I gave for this single line. Okay. Is that clear, everyone? Now what we need to do? What should be our next step?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Pk over here will be the probability of having any given symbol k in the original message. So if we assume it's a random signal, then it will be 1 by capital M, right? Equal probability.
Yeah, we are considering equal probability and equal energy over here.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
That's what starting itself we wrote 1 by m. You remember the starting presentations, earlier one. So we wrote that for equal probability it is 1 divided by capital M.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So now what is our next step? What should we do? What you are thinking? What should be our next step? The earlier function which I told, the likelihood function, you need to take the log. Okay. You have to take the natural logarithm and see whether it is maximum or not. That is the only step is left out. Okay. So now what I do? So this again I written it from the earlier slide. This function, this likelihood function. Okay. So here this likelihood function, you take natural logarithm. Okay. So when I take natural logarithm, okay, that means to this function I need to take as natural logarithm. So the result I have written over here. What is the result I written when I take the natural logarithm? It becomes minus n divided by 2 natural logarithm of pi n naught minus 1 by n naught summation j is equal to 1 to n. Okay. It becomes xj minus what it is skj the whole square. So here I am taking k is equal to 1 to till m. So now what we do for an AWGN channel, this likelihood function we have defined, and corresponding what we are doing, we are taking the value of the metric. Okay, we are taking the corresponding value of the metric. Now I take the logarithm. Now what I need to do, we need to see this right hand side expression. I am taking it separately. That is this expression, I take it separately. Now this term, 1 minute, this term, what is this? Minus n by 2 natural logarithm of pi n naught. Okay, this is a constant term. So what you do is you ignore it. A constant term I am ignoring. So what is left out? Left out is what it is left out now? Tell me. In that expression right hand side, what is left out?
Minus 1 by n naught sigma j is equals to 1
xj minus xjj squared. So that alone you see, and we need to evaluate this expression. This expression needs to be evaluated, and we have to see whether it is maximum for k equal to I. So now I need to evaluate xj minus xkj squared. Okay. So now I am evaluating here. See here. You are able to see that expression in the right hand side. That now in my notepad you are able to see, everyone. Xj minus xkj. Please listen to my explanation very well. First one, it is summation xj squared. Okay. So in the earlier one, what was the variable which was given? Maximum for k equal to I. Yes or no? Everyone? We are seeing for maximum for k equal to I. Now this expression, okay, does this expression have a k term? No. So it is an independent expression of K. So this expression again I am ignoring. Is that clear, everyone? A minus B whole square. A squared minus 2AB plus B squared. Is that clear, this right hand side expression?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this summation is independent of K. So I am treating it as some constant term. So this is getting ignored. So this is getting ignored. So what is left out over here? Minus 2 xj xkj and summation xkj squared. What is this expression? How did I write energy of the signal? From where did I get this result, energy of the signal? Anyone, can you tell me this expression? I am writing it as some Ek. How did I get?
So last class.
Earlier expression, EI, what it was, energy of the signal. I'll take to the previous slide, just see. This one, you remember this expression? This expression, you're able to remember this one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in place of I, what it is? In place of I, it is? What it is? K. So Ek will become summation K equal to some 1 to xkj squared. Clear? So that expression I am writing it over here. So this I call it as, this summation j is equal to 1 to n, I call it as some Ek. Is that clear, everyone? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that I have written it as Ek. That's all. Just that variable change I called Ek. So now what we write is, so now what I write? So now I write it as, so this lies inside the region Zi. Okay. This lies inside Zi. Okay. If when it is summation xj xkj. Okay, I am normalizing it. I am divided by 2. So I am writing it as 1 by 2 Ek. Okay. If this expression is maximum, if this expression is maximum for k equal to I. So that is what this result we have written. That's what this result we have written over here. It lies inside the region Zi if summation xj xkj minus 1 by 2 Ek is maximum for k equal to I. Okay, it is k equal to I. So now, what is actually, you have x minus sk is going to be the distance between the received signal and the message point. So this is computing what? Xj minus xkj is computing this expression. What it is? Distance between the received signal point and the message point. So that is represented by vectors x and sk. So vector x lies inside region Zi if I write it. So this vectors, x lies inside Zi, that is my Euclidean space, if in that expression it is norm of s minus sk, okay, is minimum. It is minimum for k equal to I. Okay. So what does it we infer? What is our inference from here? Inference is what? Inference is, it shows that The maximum likelihood decision rule is to choose the message point closest to the received signal point. Okay, that means what? We are choosing the received signal point. That means we are going to choose the message point close to the received signal point. So that is what we need to infer from these decisions, and then we are inferred these expressions earlier. That's what we have inferred these expressions earlier. So this shows. So you can see the space over there. This is my region Z1. This is region Z1. This is region Z2. This is region Z3. This is region Z4. So now we are what it assuming the signal transmission with equal energy, equal probability. So that's why I written all equal energies over here, root E over there. So we are partitioning the observation space into decision regions. So we are taken an example for n equal to 2 and m equal to 4. We are taken an example for n equal to 2 and m equal to 4. Accordingly, we partition and then we are able to find out. Okay. So now from this only we are writing this probability of error expression. Okay. So again the earlier expression, what I written over here. What I written over here, PE. This expression again I am taking. This expression is that this one. P of mi comma x, P of mi not sent. That expression again I am substituting it over here. P of mi sent does not lie on the region / zi mi sent. So if I want to get, if I write it as x and q, x is for success, I write 1 minus q. So 1 minus the failure, but the probability is equal probability. So I write it as 1 divided by m, summation of this value. So this set result is substituted over here. This is substituted over here. So what happens? P is equal to 1 minus 1 by m. P of this is does not lie. Okay. This expression it is written as does not lie. Does not lie in that region. But this expression is lies inside, as I told you here. So when I take, we write it as 1 minus P of mi sent. Is that clear, everyone? Is that clear? From this expression we written, and then I written it over here. So if I want to find out wherever it lies inside the region, the observational space, we need to integrate it. Which function we need to integrate? We need to integrate what we need to integrate over there. P of x lies inside zi / mi sent. So this I write it as integral of which region it is, some zi. If it is going to be in z1, we write it as z1. That limits I take. Then you integrate that likelihood function. Then you integrate that likelihood function dx. This gives me the conditional probability of that event. So this gives me the, okay. So we use a standard notation to denote the probability of an event and conditional probability of an event. So we are calculating the probability of an event. Is that clear, everyone? All of you? So all we are taking from the earlier expressions, these expressions, and which expression we have taken? This likelihood function, this expression. These two expressions I substituted, I took a log term, that's all. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it is very simple. We have taken that expression, again I repeat, we have taken that likelihood function. I am taking to compute the metric. I am going to take the natural logarithm, and the natural logarithm is going to be maximum for k equal to I. Then if infer that it is lying within that space. Okay, then I am calculating those probability of error. So probability of error, you integrate those likelihood functions. 1 minus 1 by m, okay, summation p of x lies inside region z mi cent, p of x lies inside mi cent is integral of fx of mi, okay. So that's what you mean by it. So I can write my probability of error. How do I write it? So P will become the final expression. I write it as PE. What it is? I substitute all those values. 1 minus 1 by m. Okay. What did I find? All those results I take. Summation. I take I equal to 1 to m. Okay. Then there is one integration. Zi fx of x slash mi dx. This is what we have done. So this gives you the probability of error. So it is in terms of the likelihood function when mi is sent. So it is for an n-dimensional observation vector, and this integral which we have over here, this integral which we have, okay, this integral is n-dimensional, okay, it is n-dimensional. This is an n-dimensional observation what you are doing. Is that clear, everyone? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
All of you? Is it clear? The earlier expression which I taken from the previous slide, that I am using it. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now we'll go to the topic matched filter. Before I go to the match filter, what is match filter? Can you tell me, anyone? What is this match filter? Match filter means where we are fitting it. In a digital communication system, you have a transmitter, a channel, a receiver. Where this match filter is going to be placed in the communication system, a digital communication system?
So that receiver for detection.
Yeah, in the receiver side for the detection. So we call this match filter as an optimum receiver. Okay, we call it as an, we can call it as something, it is an optimum receiver. Okay, so why we are going for match filter? It helps in maximization of the output signal to noise ratio. That is why we go for match filter. Okay, it helps in, so that is very, very important. Okay, why we go for match filter? Everyone have a clear cut doubt. So we go for maximization of output signal to noise ratio, output SNR, maximization of output SNR. This helps. So that means for example, I send some signal, the channel it has got corrupted, and this match filter, what it does over there, it helps in increasing the signal power. If noise power is getting dominated, it helps in increasing the signal power. Thereby, I can detect my actual signals. Actual, either it is binary symbol 1 or 0. So in a layman language or in a normal block diagram way, what do? You have some signal g of t. Okay, you have some signal g of t that I am giving it to a, here if you see, it is some g of t. Okay, so I can call this function, in some books it is given g of t, or I can call it as some phi of t. Some books they write phi of t. Okay, both, whatever it is no problem, g of t or phi of t, anything, and I am adding with w of t. This is what a white noise, it is passed through AWGN channel where it is having 0 mean, and PST is going to be n0 by 2. Far spectral density of white Gaussian noise is n0 by 2. I am getting a signal or x of t. This I pass it through a linear receiver. This full block is called as a match filter. And then I sample at time t equal to t. Then I am going to compute the output. So this x of t is going to be, as written, g of t plus w of t. And your output signal component, I am going to call it as some g naught of t. So now the signal to noise ratio formula is given as okay, here eta is equal to g naught of t, instantaneous power divided by average noise power. We are going to calculate SNR, noise signal power divided by noise power. This is your signal power. Okay, this is your signal power, and this is going to be your noise. So the ratio, what we need to do, we are maximizing the SNR. So for that, signal power has to be increased. That this match filter is going to take care. Okay, that match filter is going to take care. So now what we do is we are going to find out g naught of t. Okay, so this g naught of t is going to be g of t convolved with h of t. How do I write it? I write like this. I have some filter, a LTA system, whose impulse response is h of t. Okay, this is going to be some g of t. This is going to be some g of t. How do you calculate the output? Tell me, how do you calculate? Here you are going to convolve, isn't it? So I convolve g of t with h of t. That I am going to call it as g naught of t. Okay, is this step clear, everyone?
Sir, yeah, what is GT and HT here?
G of t.
Yes, sir. I am, sir, asking here G naught T is equals to GT convolved with HT. Sir, what is GT and HT
Yes,
here?
sir. G of t is the input signal which I given over here. You can see over here, G of t. It is given to a white noise, this one. Here.
And sir, HT?
H of t is coming inside that LTA system.
So G of t is a message signal, like the
G of t is a pulse signal. I am going to represent it as either a binary symbol 1 or 0.
okay.
And the receiver part, I am going to guess whether it is 1 or 0. See over here. You are able to see this this one, G of t, which I circled. No?
Yes, sir.
This one. This is the input signal. This may be either symbol 1 or 0. Okay. Output, that's what I was telling. In some books they write G of t, some books they write phi of t. Okay. Here I am representing it as some simple signal G of t. Why didn't I write phi of t? Means you should not consider it some basis function or something. That's why I changed it as G of t. Okay. This is G of t. Here it is H of t. So output is going to be G naught of t is going to be G of t convolved with H of t. This is the filter. Filter has an impulse response H of t. I am giving a signal binary 1 or 0 to a filter. That input signal is G of t. I am going to convolve with your impulse response. The convolved result I am going to call it as G naught of t. The output coming over here. Is that clear? Your response so that I can go ahead.
Yes, sir.
See, in some see here, you can think like that. See, I have some x of t. You have some h of t. If I want to find out y of t, what do I write? What do I write in y of t? What is y of t over here? Tell me.
X of t convolved with h of t.
H of t. In place of y of t, I am writing as some g naught of t. Because here it is g naught of t. Y of t is consisting of, see over here, g naught of t plus n of t. That n of t is a noise component. Now I am going to calculate only the signal component g naught of t. Is that clear?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. This is the signal component. G0 of t is the signal component. And this n0, n naught of t is a noise component. Now the output signal is having plus n of t. Now I have not taken that n of t now. I have taken only g naught of t. That's why I am taking this g naught of t over here. So that y of t, in that y of t I am taking only g naught of t, which is the signal component. So the output coming from the LTE system is convolved with the input signal with your impulse response. Okay. So now I got g naught of t. Now what happens in this result? Now what happens in this result? So in time domain, if it is convolution, what will happen in frequency domain?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. So there I wrote g naught of t. In frequency domain, it is g naught of f. So g naught of f is going to be multiplied in frequency domain h of f multiplied by g of f. Clear? Clear? So when I take inverse
yes.
Fourier transform, when I take the inverse Fourier transform, what you are going to get? G naught of f is what? Inverse Fourier transform.
G naught of t.
G naught of t. Okay. That is what I written over here. Fourier transform of g naught of t is h of f into g of f. Now I want to find out inverse Fourier transform. So when I take the inverse Fourier transform, okay. So when I want to calculate the inverse Fourier transform, it is integral minus infinity to plus infinity. It is g naught of f multiplied by e power j 2 pi ft df. What is g naught of f? It is h of f into g of f. This step is clear. Is this step clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine. That step is clear, everyone. I substituted the g naught of f. Now, again come to the diagram. After that, what it is being done over here at this particular point? Here. What is done at this particular point? We are sampled at t equal to t. You are able to see this one? Sample at time t equal to t. You are able to see in the diagram sample at t equal to t.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now, see everyone, please listen. In this mathematical analysis, if you tell, only I will proceed. Otherwise, I won't proceed. I will be in that same expression only. Unless you are satisfied with my explanation, I will stick on to that particular expression. If you tell yes, I will go to the next one. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now I take at, now you sample this signal g naught of t. Okay. What it is done? It is sampled at t equal to capital T. So in place of small t, I need to find out what is g naught of capital T. Clear? Because in my, if I want to calculate my signal to noise ratio, it is g naught of t magnitude squared divided by e of n squared of t, because it is an average noise power. Okay, that's why the square is coming. G naught of t capital T squared, which is sampled at t equal to t, and e of n squared of t. So here if I put at t equal to, here I put at t equal to t, this becomes, at this t will become capital T. So I will be getting this expression of magnitude squared. So now I got the numerator part of your signal to noise ratio, output signal to noise ratio. So now what we have got? We have got the instantaneous signal power. That means the numerator component alone I have estimated now. Our next aim is to find out what is going to be the denominator value. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now to find out E of n squared of t, it is the Fourier transform of the PSD of the noise component. So here I written PSD of noise component. E of n squared of t is nothing but like calculating the variance. Okay. So here E of n squared of t, you have to take the Fourier transform of the PSD. So here, why did I write n0 by 2 h of f squared? This n0 by 2 is coming from where did I get n0 by 2? PSD of white Gaussian noise. Okay. And this is the variance value of which is coming from the PSD of the white Gaussian noise. And what is this h of f squared? We have used one transfer function here, h of t, here. So it is n0 by 2 magnitude of, we are multiplying in the frequency domain, n0 by 2 h of f squared. So it becomes n0 by 2 h of f squared. That result is what is written over here. So I need to substitute n0 by 2 h of f squared and then I need to integrate. Till this step we are able to follow. Everyone, till this step.
So can you explain?
Pardon?
So can you explain again, like from
Yeah,
the
I'll
previous
explain.
step?
Yeah, again. See here, for example, I had one signal. What did we have? We had some signal over here, and here I wrote h of t. Okay, here we have computed some y of t. This y of t is going to be component of g naught of t plus some w of t or n of t. So now I am going to calculate the signal, that is the noise power. So here the input which comes over here, the white Gaussian noise is n0 by 2 PSD of white Gaussian noise. You remember when I told
Yes, sir.
autocorrelation is n0 by 2 del of t. If I take the Fourier transform, it becomes n0 by 2. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then what we have, it is passed through a impulse response which is having a transfer function h of t. This is squared magnitude n0 by 2. So I am multiplying by h of f squared. We are doing the frequency domain, it is multiplied.
Yes, sir.
So this result is becoming n0 by 2 magnitude of h of f squared. So this result needs to be integrated. This result needs to be integrated from where to where? From minus infinity to plus infinity. From minus infinity to plus infinity. So now when I do it, what will be the result we will be getting? This I got one result, integral n0 by 2 h of f squared. Other result you got this one. What is this result? G naught of t h of f squared e power j 2 pi f t df. H of f d of g of f e power j 2 pi f t df magnitude square. So this result I have got it. Till this you are able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now to compute this expression, we are going to use Squar's inequality. This is the formula which I am going to use. Okay. If I have any value, for example, if it is g1 of t or g2 of t, for example, if in place of phi1 I write g1 of t or g2 of t, some dt, it is integral value of g1 of t squared dt integral and g2 of t magnitude squared dt less than equal to individual integral, provided with the condition your g1 of t is k times g2 star of t, as like this if I write it. Is that clear? So this is the Squar's inequality we need to apply to the expression. So now what I'm going to do is, this is Squar's inequality. Now in this expression, come to this expression. Okay, this one. This one. That is what is the result? Phi1 of x, phi2 of x, magnitude of phi1 of x. So now this one I will call phi1. Clear? And this 2 I will call it as phi2. This step is clear, everyone? This step is clear? Because that integration, I want to break that integration into individual integration. Your response, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I am calling this phi1 and phi2. So what is the condition given? Provided it is phi1 is k times phi2. So phi1 I have taken h of f, phi2 I have taken g of f. Okay. So when I do the integration, what happened this one? I will write integral h of f squared and integral g of f squared. Now if I take magnitude of phi2 of x square, this is what? G of f multiplied by e power j 2 pi ft magnitude square. Okay, it is magnitude of g of f squared multiplied by magnitude of e power j 2 pi ft squared. So now you are having an integration over there. So what happens to magnitude of e power j 2 pi ft squared over here? Magnitude of e power j theta squared is equal to how much?
1.
1. So this result no need to write it. Clear? So magnitude of e power j 2 pi ft squared has become 1. So this result becomes magnitude of g of f squared df. Is this step clear? This step clear?
So can you
Yes.
explain this one more time, this step?
Yeah, I will tell. See now, this one, here I have taken this as phi1, this as phi1 and this as phi2. What is phi2 over there? G of f e power j 2 pi ft. I need to take the magnitude square. Just respond to me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now I take magnitude squared, what happens?
Yes, sir.
Magnitude of g of f e power j 2 pi ft squared. Magnitude g of f squared, magnitude of e power j 2 pi ft squared. What is magnitude of e power j theta squared?
1.
1. So what is left out now in that integration? Only g of
G
f
of
squared is left out.
Yes, sir.
This result. So this result will become what? This result will become integral magnitude h of f squared and integral magnitude of g of f squared, provided you have a less than equal to symbol. Clear? That is
Yes,
what
sir.
is the numerator. Clear?
Yes,
Clear?
sir.
Yeah. Now this denominator term I written from here. Denominator term I written from here.
Excuse me, sir. I have a
N naught
doubt.
by 2 h of f squared. Because the formula tells what? See here, SNR is equal to eta is equal to magnitude of G naught of C squared divided by the noise power. Now, because of squares inequality, it has become less than equal to symbol. Because of squares inequality, it has become less than equal to symbol. So now it becomes eta is equal to less than equal to this value. So now I can cancel out this h of f squared and this h of f squared. So the result will become, what happens with this result? here. So n naught by 2 will go to the numerator, it will become 2 by n naught, and I remove that less than symbol, it becomes eta max is equal to 2 by n naught integral minus infinity to plus infinity magnitude of g of f square. This step is clear.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, tell me.
When we are taking the magnitude squared of the denominator, here the magnitude of the power spectrum of the signal is n naught by 2.
Yeah.
So why are we not squaring it? Why do we not get n naught square by 4?
No, n naught by 2 is the variance. No, already it is done, right?
So square of the
Variance is how you take. After you take in the square term only, that variance is come. Please see over here. I'll just go to the previous slides. Just see over here. What is this? What is this sigma xj squared? This is becoming, this is the filter. Here it becomes what? Magnitude of h of f squared. Remember?
Got it, sir.
Variance. Yeah. No problem. Now I got n naught by 2 h of f squared df. So what is left out? Are we done with the result? No. Because one more condition is there. Square's inequality is telling this one also. What is that? This integration is valid only if this one is satisfied. This is the condition. So that we need to see. So what is phi 1 we are taken? Phi 1 is h of f and phi 2 is g of f e power j 2 pi f t. So what happens to this one? So this h of f, I am going to call it as your, see here. What is that condition over there? H optimum of f is equal to k g star of f e power minus j 2 pi f t f. This is that h of f which I taken over here. Just see the result. This result you see. That is what I written as h optimum of f. If I take phi 2 star, what happens? This becomes g star of f. This will become, this is plus, so this will become minus. Clear? Is it clear?
Sir, from where did we get H optimum of F?
From where did we get?
H optimum F. Like
H optimum is that optimum value. The condition we are satisfying, right? So here I written h of f. This one. This h of f, I am writing it as h optimum of f. After the condition. If the condition is valid, I wrote it as optimum filter. So I write h of t. Okay. Because we have used this condition, so instead of writing h of f, since I have used that condition, I am replacing h of f as the h optimum value of f. Okay. So it becomes k g star of f e power minus j 2 pi f t. Now, if I want to take the inverse Fourier transform, what do I do? What will be I getting? H optimum of t. How will I take inverse Fourier transform? It should be h optimum of f multiplied by what? E power plus or minus? Inverse Fourier transform. What is the formula?
Plus.
Yeah, so it e power j plus j 2 pi f small t. Okay, that I rearranged over here. It becomes e power minus j 2 pi f t minus t. Is this step clear?
So, but shouldn't it be plus J2 pi f?
Pardon?
So,
No,
shouldn't
no.
it be plus J?
It is plus only, right? Here it is minus of minus. This is minus and this is minus. Here you already have an exponential term here. See, minus j2 pi capital F t. This plus e power a into e power b, e power a plus b. Minus of minus is plus only I taken. Just see. Clear?
Sir.
Yeah. So now for, we are taking for a real valued signal. Okay. So now I can take G star of F is equal to, for real valued signal it becomes G of minus F. G star of F for real valued signals it becomes G of minus F. So what happens? This expression will become like this. I'll just write over here in the next slide. This expression will become what? It will become G of minus F. It becomes exponential, okay, minus j 2 pi F t minus t minus t df. Okay, so what is this result actually? This result is what? G of minus F. This is e power minus j 2 pi F t minus t df. What is this result? See, if I remove this negative sign here, I'll remove the negative sign over here. Are you in line with me, everyone? Everyone? Students?
Yes, sir.
What happens if I take the negative sign from here? Yeah, tell me. I'm waiting for your answer. Anyone there? Please answer me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What happens to this result? If I replace this as plus and in the exponential if I put it as plus, what it is? It becomes
Inverse transform.
G of F e power j 2 pi F t minus t. Okay. Now this is like one variable t minus t. See, G of t is the inverse Fourier transform of G of F e power j 2 pi F t df. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in place of t, I am going to put t minus t, and this also I am going to put, in place of t I am going to put t minus t. Will it be this result? In place of t I put t minus t, will it be this result?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now I got h optimum of t is equal to k into g of t minus t. This is the condition. Only if this is satisfied. Only if this is satisfied. In some books, if instead of g of t it is given, in some books they write like this also. Both are same. H optimum of t is equal to k into, instead of g of t, if I take phi of t, it becomes phi of t minus t. Anyway, you can represent, provided you take that representation what you have taken in the input over here is very important. Here I take g of t. If I take phi of t, then you write it as phi of t minus t. Okay. So a simple example is, I given one simple example. if I take a square wave, take a square wave, okay? If I take a square wave, what do? I need to take, this is h of t. For time being, you take k equal to 1. Here I have taken k equal to 1. So I need to take the shifted value. G of h optimum of t is g of t minus t. So I have taken h of t is equal to g of t minus t. After convolving, okay, you are getting a triangular wave. A square wave, after convolution, it will become a triangular wave and it will be maximum at t equal to t. Okay. Can anyone tell me why we have gone till 2t? Why we have gone till 2t? Ma'am?
So when we do convolution, we flip the signal. So we get the maximum when both the signals overlap, and then the value of the function we have after convoluting,
It decreases.
is decreasing until they don't overlap. So that's why 2t, because that's double the length of both these signals.
Correct. At t equal to capital T, what you're getting? Just tell me, at t equal to capital T.
We get complete overlap.
Yeah, that means what we have computed now? We have computed the energy of the signal. Yeah. We have computed the energy of the signal at t equal to t. See, it is somewhat for those students, what he has told, just I am telling. See here, for example, I have one line over here and another line. Okay. You just consider this as, if it is on the class, normally I just take 2 dusters and then I show that result of the area under the convolution. You just consider this as one duster and this is another duster. Okay. Now this is coming from minus infinity. Just I'll take one example. Here I am coming from minus infinity. Okay, this point is 0. So now I am going to slowly come over here. I am going to overlap with this line. So what happens? This person is going to come slowly like this. First it comes like, then it comes like full overlap. Okay, so this full overlap is coming at capital equal to t. Clear, everyone? So I get this line. So I get this line. 0. Now I'm going to, slowly it is going to decrease. Again it is decreasing. So it goes till 2t. So at 2t it will become 0. Is that clear? And at t equal to t, after finding out the autocorrelation of the signal, or we find out the energy of the signal. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now both this correlator and match filter are equivalent. Okay. Both this correlator and match filter are equivalent. How do I tell like that it is equivalent? It is like I have some basis function, I pass it to the accumulator. Okay. I am going to integrate it 0 to t. It is somewhat like this. Why we tell it is equivalent? It is somewhat like this. I have some phi 1 of t, and then what do I do in the correlator? In the correlator, I integrate it 0 to t dt. Here I am computing one observation vector x1. Here I am going to compute some observation vector x1. So this filter which I take, it should be matched to the input signal phi j of t. That's why I written it should be matched to the signal phi j of t. So xj of t is equal to phi j of t minus t. Okay. So now what becomes xj of t minus tau? In the convolution it is when I take x1 of t and x2 of t, x1 of tau, x2 of t minus tau. So similarly, when I convolve, it is hj of t minus tau. So hj of t minus tau, xj of t is this one, which is phi j of t minus t. Hj of t minus tau will become phi j t minus what it is. T minus, we are going to calculate hg of t minus tau. So it becomes, we are calculating hg of t minus tau. That expression is written over here. Phi j of t minus t plus tau. It is actually like we writing t minus tau. That I wrote it as phi j of t minus t plus tau. And then what we do? You sample. Here. You sample at t equal to t. So this result becomes what? It is nothing but the correlator output. We are getting phi j. That's why both correlator and match filter are equivalent. Okay. So what we need to do before multiplying with the correlator, we need to take the delayed value of the input signal. Then it becomes a match filter. Is that clear, everyone? Before multiplying to the correlator block, the filter which you choose should be the delayed version of the input. Why it is? Because here we have proved it. Here we have proved it. It should be the delayed version. That's why I am taking phi j of t minus t. Is that clear? Is that clear? All of you? Response, please. Response, please. Kindly tell your response.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is what you mean by this example. Okay. So some more examples I have given in the material. All have gone through the material, what I uploaded in that Teams.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there I given one more example. Many examples I given. You have to work out. Okay. So please go through the uploaded for the diagrams and exercise problem and these properties of the match filter. What do you mean by properties of match filter? That I am telling right here in this example. When I take at t equal to this example, we are finding out the energy of the signal. So autocorrelation becomes peak at t equal to 0. So that's what you mean by this. It becomes at t equal to, if I put t equal to capital T, this is like writing r phi of t minus t, which is r phi of 0. This is nothing but autocorrelation or the signal energy. And the maximum value which you can have, the maximum value, the property which you have, okay, this is 2E by N naught, okay. It is twice the signal energy divided by the noise power. So how actually you are writing it, this result? This result, because we already know what is E of n squared of t. What is E of n squared of t, which we wrote? N naught by 2 integral minus infinity to plus infinity. What was it? You wrote magnitude of g of f squared. You remember? H of f squared. So in place of h of f, I am writing it as phi of f. Okay. So this is what? N naught by 2 integral magnitude of phi of f squared df minus infinity to plus infinity. What it is actually? What is this result equal to? Anyone tell me?
It's equal to the energy, sir. It's the same as Parseval's theorem, basically.
Divided by E, multiplied by E. Will it become like this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now tell me what will be Now you tell me what will be SNR output maximum. What is the formula? This base we got N0 by 2 E. What it is? N0 by E by 2. What is this numerator? What is this
It will
numerator?
be
Huh?
1, sir, because it's asking the energy of phi, and phi always has 1 as energy.
Okay, what is that value coming? It is the energy. What is this result? Numerator, what does it contain? Magnitude of phi of t squared is a square component.
So
we
isn't
have
it just
over
one?
here.
So isn't it just
Yeah.
one?
No, you are having some energy. I'm not calling it as a basis function. Some signal. You have some signal over there, isn't it?
So,
What was this expression earlier we wrote?
the
G naught
expression
of-
here in the box is, so the expression here in the box, you have just
Yeah, they are written G naught
Pulled
of
it.
t magnitude squared. Isn't it? Divided by what you wrote? E of n squared of t, isn't it? What is this one? That is your energy now. Will it become energy now?
Yes, sir. E square.
So this is becoming E squared now. So when I take E squared by N naught E by 2, you should get this result. Got it? Is that clear? So we will get 2E by N naught. That's why you tell SNR maximum is 2E by N naught. Is that clear?
Sir, just to clarify,
Yeah, okay.
we got G naught of capital T is equal to E because of that correlation, sorry, convolution graph earlier, right?
Okay.
I'm asking that only, sir.
This result, I'll take it. See here. See, in place of g of t, that's what I wrote in this diagram. Either you take g of t, now I am taking phi of t. What will be the result? This is becoming phi naught of t squared. It is instantaneous power, right?
Yes, sir.
Power is E. So it is E squared here.
Got it, sir.
Okay. So it is this is becoming E squared, and E of n squared by E of n squared of t is becoming 2E by 2 n naught by E. That n naught by 2 into E. I am taking the ratio.
Yes, sir. Got it. Thank
So
you.
that result is becoming like this 2E by n naught. Is that clear, everyone? Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Next week, today you have that your assignments, okay, and assignments, today's assignment, it is 5 marks, okay. Similarly, on September 15th, you will be having on MCQ, okay. It may be starting from 4:30. Clear, everyone?
Yes,
Next
sir.
week we'll have MCQ starting on September 15th. All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. Now we can go to your. Till this it is fine. So from Thursday's class, Prashant Prabhu sir will be taking. Okay. So after his class, then again I'll be coming. That may be from lecture 30. So from tomorrow it starts from lecture, I think 22. As per course plan, I covered just 5 lectures. Lecture 16 to lecture 21. Is that clear, everyone, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.